Talk to you about working for Memphis.
Me and Kenny Timms went in there for like two and a half months. And Memphis was still doing a little bit of business itself. Nashville was still doing a little bit of business itself. And Memphis didn't fall off for another year or so. And I liked the territory, but most of them were you were like in Saturday morning Memphis TV, and then Saturday night was Nashville, which wasn't too bad. That's only a 3.5 hour drive. But, if you do Memphis on Monday and then Louisville's Tuesday, and if you were living in Memphis, that was a haul.
Yeah.
That one was rough. And then depending on what Lawler's opinion was of you, you would either be in the Arkansas town on Friday night or the Mississippi town Friday night that was really close to Memphis. So you're an hour away from it, or you were in the town that was like on the other end of Kentucky, and you didn't get in until 4 in the morning. I experienced both because we were in Louisville. Lawler probably doesn't remember. I'm sure he doesn't. It doesn't matter to me, but Kenny Timms and I were outside. We were getting some sun, and he loved to do calisthenics. He didn't care about the gym. He cared less about walking to the gym, but 500 push-ups, 500 squats, and I'd sit and count for him. Read my newspaper, and we were by the pool in Louisville, and Lawler sent Jerry Calhoun out, and he says, Lawler needs you guys to go back there so he could get some sun. Oh, okay. I understand a kayfabe. I didn't get hot at that. He says, Jerry Calhoun says, Lawler tells me that it's bad for the heels to be seen working out. Bad for business. And I looked at Jerry Calhoun and I'm like, I'm 21 years old. I'm not smart to the idea that you don't pop off to Lawler. And, was it bad for the business or was it bad for Lawler? And then I walked off. And we went from the A towns, and if there was such a thing as a C town in Memphis, we were in the C town.
Yeah.
That Monday, the night before, it was a Tuesday, that Monday before Jerry takes us in the little office he had in Mid-South Coliseum. He gives us our checks and says, please guys, don't leave. We've got plans. Checks are bad. And I looked at the check and I'm like, he's paying better than most people. We're not going anywhere. Kenny Timms was like, oh, we're not going anywhere. That Tuesday going into Wednesday, it was Wednesday morning. So you get the idea. Just a day and a half later.
Right.
That's when I popped off to Jerry Calhoun. I probably should. Anyway, the next Monday, we get called into the office. We think, all right, they're going to give us a little more idea of what they're doing with us. He said, they gave us our notice.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. And I was green as a cord. I'm not going to tell anybody different. I was. This is Memphis, as long as you can work a gimmick. And we were working with guys like Dutch. And rock and roll were out with Watts, but we were working with guys like Dutch, and we were working with Will White Batten, one of the Batten twins. So we were working with some decent talent, guys that could help me. I popped off the Lawler, and all of a sudden we're on our way out the door.
How over was Jerry Lawler in Memphis?
He was still over then. I will give him credit. He was still over then. I mean, we were there for like 2 months, and they were complaining when it was 5,000-6,000 people. And I can't remember who he worked with now. Maybe Rude. Yeah, it was Rude or Bundy. He was working with the two of them by the time we were there. That was the two angles. So whichever one, the house almost doubled 1 week to the next. Whatever they had done that night, and then the TV in between, because that Saturday TV set Monday for Memphis. So it was like that was the formula. And so I saw 9,000-10,000 people in Mid-South once or twice, and business was supposed to be down.
King Kong Bundy was one of my dearest friends.
He was like, well, if you didn't want to know an opinion, don't ask him.
Yeah.
I learned that early. I learned that.
And a lot of times you didn't have to ask him.
No, you didn't. You just had to just look at him. But he's a heart of gold too. unless
Yeah.
you made him
You
mad.
should. Yeah.
And
But
you got his
I've
bad
been
side.
out. Yeah. Oh, can that guy hold a grudge?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You get on his bad side, you're done. There was no
Yeah.
in between with Bundy. None. He liked you or he didn't. And it was funny. Sometimes he'd get the laugh. We would ride with us in Memphis because I had to have heels, riding with heels. And we would get him to laugh, and I couldn't hold the car on the road because he was at his biggest ever, right? The Memphis going to New York. And he'd get to laughing, and I'd have to try to keep the car on the road. I remember that.
You worked for Puerto Rico, correct?
Yeah, 3 times.
Talked to you about Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Carlos?
I worked with Carlos the last time I was there. Before that, I was always in tags. Well, I was in tags no, I take it back. First time I went down there as the medic, and I worked with Jose Estrada. I wasn't the first person to do the gimmick where he's not the original medic. I'm the original medic, and then I lose the mask to him. I wasn't the first time it happened. I did the angle. The last 2 times I went in, the second 2 times I was in tags. I didn't work with Carlos until the last time. I worked with Carlos a few times my last run in 93 or yeah, it was 93.
How are the houses in Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico by 93 was beginning to show the damage that was being done by the business to the business itself, period, in the same. 86 business was still great. That was my first trip. The weekends, the baseball stadium's full. The houses, the small buildings, 2,000-3,000 people, they're full. The bigger buildings like in Mayagüez and places like that hold 5,000-6,000, they were full. They were doing business in 86 still. 91, they had downsized a little bit. Let's be honest. They weren't running some of the bigger buildings, but they were still selling out the 2,000 seat arena, that sort of thing. And they were running the baseball field every other week now instead of every week. But they were still doing good when they ran. Still 8, 10, 12,000 people up in that place. Yeah.
Any crazy interaction with the fans in Puerto Rico?
Every night. Puerto Rico's one place where the only place I've ever been that didn't have ringside seats because you couldn't have ringside seats. Those folks would sell rocks outside of some of the arenas and they'd throw the rocks out and then go back and pick all the rocks back up so they could sell them the next week and things like that. Oh my God. Mendoza was my partner the second time I was in, and he had to pull his pistol to get us out of one of the buildings one time. Yeah, put it right on my chest. I'm in the passenger seat. It does like this across my chest. That's the only way we got out of that parking lot. I forget which building it was now. But how we got that much heat, I don't know. But we had it. So there's just stuff like that. And that was every night, though. We didn't necessarily have to fight our way out of the buildings because people were kept away from us. We had, and you couldn't duck, and you couldn't put over the fact that they just hit you in the head with a cup of ice from 100 feet straight down. You couldn't, because the moment you did, it was just like they bombarded you. So you just you just had to just take it, and then they'd quit because you weren't doing it. Yeah, I seen spark plugs get thrown in that place. Ponce was one of the worst. Ponce was horrible.